Hey folks, this is Rhykker, and I got second place in the first down event for Torchlight Infinite's Season 2. The first down event pitted 6 ARPG streamers and content creators against each other to see who could be the first to beat a certain boss in Torchlight Infinite. That would be the Timemark 6 Traveler. I don't normally participate in competitions, but the devs wanted to sponsor me to participate, and I figured, well, I had a lot of fun in Season 1. In Season 1, I had researched some speed leveling strategies that ended up being really fun, so I figured, okay, let's give it a shot. The competition was fierce. We're talking really good ARPG players, speedrunners, but none of us were experts at Torchlight Infinite. The event started on January 11th at 9 p.m. Eastern. That was the start of Season 2, and it runs until January 19th CST. And then each of us participating had a code that viewers could redeem in order to get rewards, and those rewards would scale based on how well we would do. So viewers can only redeem one code from one of the participants, so you're basically betting on us like racehorses. So going into this race, I knew that it would be part race and part marathon. I knew it would take the absolute pros about 6 to 7 hours to get to the Timemark 6 Traveler. I figured for the rest of us, maybe 10 to 12. So I'm like, okay, it starts at 9 p.m. I'm gonna prepare myself to go until about 7 a.m. in the morning. I can pull an all-nighter, I can pull through, I'm gonna prepare my snacks, I'm gonna prepare my coffee, and we can plow through this. The race starts off, we're all on relatively equal footing. Some people are pulling ahead a bit, others are falling behind, others are catching up, taking over. But then DS Lily, she starts pulling way ahead of everyone. Gazzy's in second place. And as the hours are going and the hours are going, what actually ends up happening is some people start going to bed. Some people had already been up for a long time. It turned out to be more of a marathon than I expected. And some people were just deciding, we're gonna do this in 2 shots, in 2 streams. We're gonna take a break in the middle. But in my mind, I had, 10 hours, 12 hours, I can do it, I can push through. The first place winner, DS Lily, she did it in about 9 hours. She was blitzing fast, excellent player, and refused to go to bed until she was done, until she beat the Timemark 6 Traveler. And then what was happening with me was, the other thing I didn't account for was my brain and my reflexes became increasingly worse as the sun was rising. So it took me 18 hours, but I did it. I ended up going to sleep at like 4 p.m. the next day. But I didn't want to call it quits. I didn't want to go to bed because I knew that that's the only thing. That was my only chance of getting second place. If I went to bed, then the other people will be able to catch up to me. Now, if people redeem our codes after we've completed the challenge, after we've defeated the Timemark 6 Traveler, then you can no longer get the maximum prize, but you can still get a 50 Primo Crest prize. And again, that's until the 19th of January, CST. The game's a lot of fun. I've still been streaming it now. I'm gonna keep streaming it until the Diablo 3 PTR starts. Doing this run made me learn a lot about the game, and now maxroll.gg has all its guides for Torchlight as well. And I'm low-key actually eager to try a speedrun again in the future. Maybe not as a competition, but just for my own competing with myself. I want to beat my own time. I'm not happy with that 18 hours at all. I think I can do a lot better. I think I've learned so much more. And I even spoke to 2 of the professionals from maxroll.gg, Tenki and Milky. They were kind of coaching me a little bit before the event as well. And so I had them on stream and I asked them, what are things that you saw that I did wrong, or what are things that you guys did right? What are things that the pros do to go super fast? What's advice? And here's what they had to say. I guess my question now for you two would be, either from what you've learned or maybe mistakes you've seen me make, what are things that you think either noobs could do to improve their time, or otherwise, how do we make go fast in less time and win?
Well, first of all, well done, because I saw the end of that stream and you looked fried.
Yeah.
And I know you died to those 2 watches, and dude, the fact that you came back from that and did it was almost more impressive than if you'd have gone on 1. Like, I would have phoned it in and gone to bed, so congrats on that anyway.
Appreciate it.
For anyone that is trying to do it, it's such a different game. The progression through the time lock system, it actually isn't very fitting for someone that's unfamiliar with it. It's not very intuitive, because you want to get to a point where essentially you're not even doing the maps, you're just completing the time marks as fast as possible to get to the Traveler as fast as possible. You're not doing any form of progression. You're just getting in and out of the maps as soon as possible. And I think that's one thing that a lot of the races missed. They were playing it more like a league start rather than a race in some instances, rather than just trying to power through as fast as possible. That's what I noticed when I was watching people anyway.
So one thing that I noticed, to kind of carry on from what Milky said, being able to recover from mistakes is huge in any game. Especially being able to recover from something like failing a Watcher. It's not the end of the world, but it feels really, really demoralizing in the moment. And it was great to see you bounce back from that. The other thing I noticed is the cadence of crafting. A lot of new players get wrong because you can start crafting as soon as you get access either to a item that has decent stuff on it already, which you can improve. That should start happening around level 75 bases, or once you can buy a level 85 base off of the trade house. And being able to grab an 85 base and fill it with T2, T3, T4 modifiers is incredibly powerful. It will help you get your life up, and it will help you cap your resistances. With the changes, having Watchers spawn in your maps and attack you, having a life pool of 3-4K is way more important than it was before.
Yeah, crafting is a huge deal, and it's one of the things that you essentially have to plan out, because you want to reach a level of power to do what I mentioned in the first part, where you are just skipping essentially everything. As soon as you're strong enough to kill Traveler, nothing else matters. You just have to get to him. And crafting is the best way to do that. For example, you're playing deck stacking right now because you're on your stream. In the race, you don't go for that. You throw all your essences, all your amplified embers at a sword. And when you hit T3 mod, you set it and forget it. You just go. You race to him, because that's going to be enough. You're going to have to play well for sure. You're going to have to know the fight. But as soon as you have enough power to confidently kill him, that's it. It's done. You just race into him. And crafting is the best way to do that. And then just enchanting your gear and stuff like that. You need to know what you're looking for. It's very planned, the progression through a character to do a race like this.
So having a plan of what to do as you're going into things, knowing exactly what gear to look for, what bases, knowing how you're going to spend your the craft things are called what again? Enchantments? No.
Embers.
Embers. Seems it's all about like reducing the amount of decisions you're making, which all those little micro decisions certainly add up to a lot of time over time. I know in the case of Lily, she was, I don't think she had a rigid plan like that. She just was avoiding making those decisions, or just making them super, super fast without really thinking. And she just, I think her mentality was, if I need to fix something in the future, I'll fix it. But a lot of the reason that she seemed to be going so much faster than the rest of us was that she wasn't spending any time making decisions. I know to some degree I think that hurt me in that I wasn't reading things. I bet 10 was like face palming a lot when I was not reading things, and so I wasn't knowing what things were doing. But it's because I'm like, well, if I'm spending time reading, I'm wasting time, and if I read everything, kind of thing. But I guess there's some things that are important to read, and I don't yet know what are the things that I should be reading and the things that I don't need to be reading. Are these things that come with, I guess, experience, or like do you ever reach a point where you never need to read anything, like you just can recognize it on sight, or are there still going to be things that you need to be reading to make a careful decision?
You'll always need to read some things. For example, if your resist is uncapped, you'll need to look at gear until you, let's say you're missing fire res, find a piece with fire res, or a piece with an open suffix so that you can enchant it with fire res. In that regard, you'll need to read, but in regards to, say, supports, if you're familiar with how a skill works and what supports are typically good on it, you never have to read what supports you're putting on. You just throw on the ones you know are good and keep going, kill stuff, and get more loot.
Mm-hmm.
Makes
yeah,
sense.
and I kind of let the game tell me what's wrong, in that if I'm dying a lot, then I check my resistances, because then I know there's a problem. If you're constantly checking your resistances, or you're constantly checking your gear when there's no need to, if you've got enough damage to kill the monsters and you're not going slow, you don't need to read anything, man. Just keep killing them. Just keep going. Just keep completing beacons. And you want to know what to pick up off the ground. So if you're having to check every single sword that drops and you don't know which two you need to pick up, that's going to take a lot of time. You're going to have to be, oh, is this the high tier base? But no, if you know only pick up cold light swords and hero long swords to ID or to craft, it's going to save you not only time but clicks, and all this stuff adds up. Every single beacon you're going to drop these things. It's attention as well. Like being alert is also important. If you're wasting attention, then you're going to get tired faster. And I think that's why Lily did so well. I think this kind of min-maxy stuff that Lily gets from PoE.
Yeah.
It's like it's all this little stuff that translates. Maybe the gameplay doesn't translate as much, but the racing style definitely does in terms of no time can be wasted. Everything's important. It all adds up.
So that's going to wrap up this video. If you play Torchlight Infinite, definitely redeem my code. Get those free Primal Crysts. If you don't play Torchlight, it's free to play. There is some pay-to-win elements in it, so if you're 100% against anything like that, well, there is. But it's comparatively inoffensive. Again, if you want a full breakdown, we got this video of Torchlight versus Diablo Immortal, where we give the breakdown on exactly what the monetization is, as well as all the other aspects of the game. And that's gonna wrap up this video. Thanks for watching. Be sure to have checked out my other Torchlight videos for more of a breakdown on the game, and go to maxroll.gg for all the guides you can need. If you enjoyed this video, please share it, check out these other videos, and subscribe to join Rhykker's Raiders for more gaming content.